I have read different, different opinions concerning what created the flooding. The official explanation from the Nigerian government is that it is because of rains.
At the end of them denying, and said, okay, by the way, we're going to start negotiating enough, because this could have been a coordinated effort. So imagine like somebody opening and wiping up your people, your citizens. In a way, Cameroon should be responsible for this damage, kind of.
Nigeria is pretty much the most dominant player there. If there is crisis in Cameroon tomorrow, Nigeria is going to send peacekeeping forces there. Nigeria has a lot of. I believe Nigeria is the country that has the highest number of peacekeeping forces across Africa.
Like the government just think everybody in Nigeria is like an idiot, or the Nigerians don't have sense. Even though we are the most educated class of people in the world and in West Africa, in Africa actually, like we're educated, we know you just can't come and be boboing us anyhow.
You should remember that she is from the northern part of Nigeria. Now, somebody from the northern part of Nigeria making such statements that a community in southern Nigeria has not even been the worst hit, and rather you are kind of saying, oh, the northern, like people should look at optics when they make some statements so that they don't end up passing a wrong message, even if perhaps maybe they are not trying to be tribalistic, but because of the sensitivities of Nigeria, they might come off as being tribalistic.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Lost Lagosians, a podcast covering topics about Lagosians, Nigerians, and Africans in and out of Africa. I'm your host, Brother Mike. So I'm here with Brother Johnson. We were together on the call, I think 2 episodes ago, and there was a very viral episode where we talked about executive recklessness. So today you are in for another treat. We talk about a few things, a few things going on in Nigeria. So the time of this recording, this is here in November of 2022. So kind of wrapping up the year. Brad Johnson, how are you doing? How are things going on with you?
Pretty good. Excited to be here with you. Always a pleasure to see you and catch up and discuss about things that are going on in our motherland.
There was a recent flooding that actually rampaged a lot of that rampaged Nigeria actually. Over 1 million people have been displaced. According to the New York Times, the country has experienced, this is the worst flood, as reported by the New York Times, in decades. Millions of people without power, without electricity. According to the New York Times, in an article that I'll link to this show notes of this podcast, 200,000 homes have been partly or wholly destroyed. Over 600 people died. About 2,400 people have been injured. And get this, 1.4 million homes have been displaced. And some states even expect more floods to come. This was reported, this was middle of October. So, and there was an issue about the politicians not wanting to suspend their campaigns.
Their campaigns, yeah.
I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. So 1.4 million Nigerians are displaced. And here you are, you still need to continue campaigning. I mean, there's a small flood that goes through a small no-name town in Kansas, and Joe Biden shows up. Everybody just suspends everything. And this reminds me of what happened in Owo recently. I can't even begin to process what's going on.
Yeah, that's just another example of the kind of political climate we have in Nigeria. Unfortunately, we have people who have leaders who do not have the best interest of those that they are governing at heart. Unfortunately, Peter will be one of the candidates, specifically for Labour Party. He was the first person that went ahead to suspend his campaign temporarily, obviously, while he visited some of these flood-ravaged communities in Benue State, in Bayelsa, in Anambra, and all of these different places that are were affected by the flooding. And when we talk about this flooding, I have read different, different opinions concerning what created the flooding. The official explanation from the Nigerian government is that it is because of rains, an increased downpour and all of that. But the thing is, a vast majority of the communities that were flooded, at least, have been those communities that are on the pathway of River Benue, right? And River Benue does not have any natural barrier in it. There is not natural. It does not have any artificial dam. It's not been dammed. For example, the Kainji Dam is there, and there is a power generation station there that dams the River Niger. But the Benue River has no dam in Nigeria. The only dam that is present in the Benue River is in Cameroon, so-called Lagdo Dam or Lagdo Dam or something. Yeah. And recently that dam was opened, right? And as the dam was opened, a vast, that's kind of where the whole flooding thing started. All of those communities that were downstream of the pathway of that dam just got so hit hard by it. And from what I have read, the Nigerian government had begun a project, many, many years ago, sometime in the 80s, I believe, to build some kind of a dam that they call Datsun Hausa Dam. I don't know if you read this, but this was published by Punch newspaper, and they were supposed to build this so-called Datsun Hausa Dam, and the work of what the Datsun Hausa Dam was supposed to do would be to serve as some kind of a
off-ramp.
Off-ramp when the upstream dam, which is the Lagdo Dam, gets overwhelmed, then this Datsun Hausa Dam would protect the Nigerian communities. But unfortunately, as is the case for a lot of projects in Nigeria, this has just been left moribund for a long time.
Abandoned
projects, exactly. So as a result of that, the communities that are along the pathway of this River Benue have continued to suffer the consequences of the inability of the Nigerian government to do what they are supposed to do. You cannot have such an important river, such a large river flowing through your country, and you have no dam whatsoever. Like, it's unthinkable. It's unthinkable that there is no dam whatsoever to protect people from the effects of this river and all of that. So it's unfortunately, again, this is just another tale of the Nigerian situation where people don't do what they are supposed to do. Yeah. But here's another thing, though. The Nigerian official explanation is that, in fact, this is not the case, that it is not being caused because of the presence of dam. But we all know that that's not true. We all know that.
Well, if it's not being caused by that, why is the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Ajia Sadia Puruk, she said that they will start bilateral discussion with Cameroon on the periodic opening of the Lagdo Dam. So somebody who's a government official came out at the end of them denying, and said, okay, by the way, we're going to start negotiating an official, because this could have been a coordinated effort. So imagine like somebody opening and wiping up your people, your citizens. Yes. I mean, in a way, Cameroon should be responsible for this damage, kind of.
Yes. But that's another thing, though. Should Nigeria government be coordinating with Cameroon on opening their dam, or should we build our own dam? Because Nigeria is the most dominant economy in that aspect, in that West Africa.
Yeah.
Right. There are lots of people from Cameroon that come to Nigeria to work and send forex back to Cameroon, by the way. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. So Nigeria is such a dominant player there in that region that, first of all, Cameroon there should be some kind of a respect that they have towards Nigeria, that you don't just go ahead to open a dam without informing the Nigerian government. They shouldn't be doing stuff like that. There should be some kind of a process where when such behavior is...
We should know.
Yeah, we should know. There should be that mutual respect. There should be mutual coordination.
Yeah.
Nigeria is pretty much the most dominant player there. If there is crisis in Cameroon tomorrow, Nigeria is going to send peacekeeping forces there.
That's right.
Nigeria,
As the big brother.
Nigeria has a lot of. I believe Nigeria is the country that has the highest number of peacekeeping forces across Africa.
Right. 100%.
You know, so yeah, represented Nigeria is almost everywhere wherever there is a crisis.
I think we might even have sent people to Russia.
Surprise, surprise.
As funny as that sounds.
You're right.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there should
Ukraine,
be that,
sorry, not Russia, Ukraine.
Yeah, but there should be that respect given to Nigeria because of what the position that Nigeria occupies in the affairs of things there in West Africa. But unfortunately, this is not the case. So the Nigerian government, I don't think we need to. I think it's a good idea, obviously, to coordinate the opening of the Labo Dam with Cameroon. But beyond that, we need to, on our own, build our own. We need to complete our dam. First of all, one of the things that dam will do is it's going to generate even more electricity for Nigeria.
There you go.
We are generating less than what? We have 8,000 megawatts of capacity and less than 5,000 megawatts of generation. By the way, we live here, the overall generation in the Pacific Northwest is probably bigger than that, right? So the thing is...
Yeah, I think the Nigerian national grid is 11,000 megawatts.
Oh, 11,000. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
11,000. That's the installed capacity.
Yeah.
But the generation capacity is 5,000 or 6,000.
Yeah.
Less than 50% of installed capacity.
Yeah, of course now. Of course.
So
yeah.
So that's another thing. So looking at that so-called, the Benue River, if we dam that river, that gives us another opportunity to even, to have, to generate even more power there. So, it's going to provide jobs, it's going to provide opportunities. So that's another very important thing they should look at, damming that Benue River.
Yeah, the average generation of Nigeria is average about 4,000 megawatts.
but here's one thing though, that you'd have to look at, right? In truth, the generation capacity of Nigeria is far larger than that, because if you sum the number of generators that people have in their house in Nigeria,
oh yeah, of course,
sum all those things together.
But that's not integrated.
But that's not integrated, obviously.
Which we don't want to make this too technical. It's not integrated because it's not.
It's not part of the centralized.
It's not part of the grid. You can't add that to the grid now.
Yes, obviously.
You can't. It's like saying you are going to a gas station, and then the gas station has 200 gallons. But then you are saying, well, there are 10 cars parked there. We have to add, the tank.
Yeah, obviously not.
You can't do that.
you cannot.
Exactly.
You
so that does not even come. But I like the angle. You're trying to represent Nigeria. You're trying to.
I guess. I guess what I'm just trying to say there is, look, in as much as things are so bad in Nigeria, where the Nigerian citizens help themselves.
Of course. What I don't like is that the government came out and said it's like rainfall, too much like it's rainy season. I'm like, what? How can you even say rainy season? The government just think everybody in Nigeria is like an idiot. Or the Nigerians
no respect whatsoever.
We are the most educated class of people in the world and in West Africa. In Africa, actually. We're educated. We're not. You just can't come and be boboing us anyhow.
Brother.
Unless those in power, they are not really, really smart. Or I don't know who their advisors are. You come and tell me flood that have wiped out millions of Nigerians that is caused by heavy rainfall. But in the back, your Minister of Disaster Humanitarian Relief is going to say we have a meeting with Cameroon next month.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's just another show of lack of coordination in the government.
Totally.
One person is saying one thing, the other person is saying something else.
Yeah. And I think the government also has gone to a point whereby they've kind of given up. This is what in the US they call this a lame duck session. A lame duck session.
Yeah.
You guys kind of Google that, obviously, what that means.
Yeah,
basically, we're in a lame duck session. The president just whatever, man. February, I'm done. I don't have to do anything anymore.
Exactly. They are ready to leave.
Yep. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, but this is kind of going to be a short episode. Just a little bit of rant.
One thing I also wanted to add there was that the current minister of what was it, Aisha, she came out and she was, because the there is this elder statesman from the Niger Delta. His name is Edwin Clark. He used to be, I believe, he used to be, he's been one of the most prominent Nigerian right from independence up until now. He's been one of the most prominent voices. Yes, in Nigeria. I believe there was a time that he served as a military governor of Bendel State or something.
Yeah, the old Bendel.
So he's one of those strong voices in Nigeria. So he was saying that because a large part of Bayelsa State was badly affected by this flooding. By the way, I schooled in Bayelsa State. And I was listening to the news, and they said there is this huge cemetery in Bayelsa State. And because of the insane amount of flooding, those who have passed away, who are resting, have been exhumed because, and you have kind of dead bodies floating around, and the whole place is just stinking. And, people are, so he was like, look, that the federal government has not come to the aid of people in Bayelsa. And that the federal government, he said a lot, he made some strongly worded suggestion that the federal government is not doing what they need to do. And after he said that, here was what the Miss Aisha, her response was that, look, that Bayelsa State is not even among the top affected states. That the top affected state was Jigawa State. And that Bayelsa State...
Jigawa is Yola, isn't it?
Yeah, Jigawa... Is it Jigawa to say? Yola is Adamawa State.
Oh, Yola is... Okay.
Yeah, Jigawa is in... Jigawa is a state, obviously. And the capital of Jigawa is
Dutse.
Yeah.
It's Dutse, all right. I've forgotten my 30 states, or is it 24 states?
Yeah, is it? Either Jigawa or...
It's Dutse, all right.
Yeah, so... Dutse, yeah. Anyway, so she was like that Jigawa is one of the worst affected states. But the funny thing there is that this Jigawa state is an upland state, right? It's an upland state. It's not
the land is higher.
The land is higher. It's really not even directly on the path of the Benue River. So it was kind of weird reading that from her that Bayelsa State is not one of the worst affected states. So why would somebody in government come out and say something like that? I mean, are the people from Bayelsa less Nigerian than the people from Jigawa State? So this is just another example of executive recklessness. So
it's Aisha Sadiya Umar Farouk.
Yeah.
So she was appointed in 2019, and she's the youngest minister in the current cabinet. So she's quite young. I mean, how old is she? She's 47. Wow, 47 is really young. She's the youngest at 47. Yeah, I think Obama was the president at younger than she was.
Yeah, there you go. So the point is that she's saying, okay, well, 51 people lost their life in Jigawa State. Over 2,000 were displaced by the flood. Okay, maybe 51 people have not lost their lives in Bayelsa State, but Bayelsa State, like there are lots of properties have been destroyed. Maybe not as much life has been lost, but they too deserve
even
to
one
be
life
helped.
Is a life lost, man.
Yes, obviously, even one life is a life lost, but they too deserve to be helped. And a minister should not be making such comments. She should remember that she is from the northern part of Nigeria. Now, somebody from the northern part of Nigeria making such statements that a community in southern Nigeria has not even been the worst hit, and rather you are kind of saying, oh, the northern, like, people should look at optics when they make some statements so that they don't end up passing a wrong message, even if perhaps maybe they are not trying to be tribalistic, but because of the sensitivities of Nigeria, they might come off as being tribalistic. So that's another goof that the Nigerian government has goofed with regards to this so-called flood. But anyway, it's
I just really, really hope that they treat every Nigerian equally and that they kind of take life seriously. And also damage of property. If that's your life, the farms were damaged,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
it's just
farms were damaged.
Livelihoods were lost. Yeah. I hope they even compensate. I hope there's You know, here normally in the US, Canada, Germany, UK, you have insurance for your farm.
Yeah.
Anything like that, you know. US is the FDA, Federal Department of Agriculture. FDA will come and give you money, help you with your farm.
Yeah.
So here you're just like, it's gone. You know, if that's your grandfather's, great grandfather's land, everything wiped away. You just, how do you wake up tomorrow and just the reality and the lack of governance?
Yeah.
I don't know. On that note, I think we'll call it quits. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you. Thanks for listening. The intent of this is to inform and to educate and sometimes entertain, not to depress. So just kind of, keep Nigeria in your thoughts and prayer. And hopefully somebody listens to this that is able to make change. Thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. At Lost Lagosians. If you have any questions, send an email to lostlagosians@gmail.com. Until next time, this is Brother Mike, and we'll catch you next one. Thanks, guys. Yeah, bye.